Hello, welcome to LGTV. This is going to be a new series called LGTV Rants, where I give a rant about a new movie that has recently came out, but that won't get a full review. Today we're going to talk about Eternals. This will include spoilers. You want to know why this got the score of the film? Because Eternals is probably the biggest mess of a film Marvel has ever made. How is this? A less of a mess than this? Let's start at the beginning. We start with one of the most pointless opening scenes to any Marvel movie that does help the audience get set in that this is going to be a not very good film. After the opening ended and the Marvel logo came on, the group of people I went with all looked at each other and we all gave a collective "oh no" with just our eyes. We then get more pointless scenes that I believe are supposed to set up the main characters and how they interact with the world, but again, it doesn't affect the audience's view on the characters and we learn nothing. The only character things we learn of relevance is main girl late and has boyfriend and small girl. That doesn't explain why she's with main girl. Disguises as older girls. This then just is her character of the film. They then get attacked by deviants in a scene that felt like Marvel told the makers of the film, hey, there's not enough action. Add an overlong action scene that halts the plot and makes the film more boring. Not Superman and main girl and sassy small girl then join forces to look for the others that were joined in the beginning scene. We then get the worst part of the movie, flashback scenes. The flashback scenes are random thrown in scenes to flesh out the character dynamics, so the dumb audience isn't confused when they show up. These flashback scenes feel like random scenes in a much interesting and engaging movie. Either you integrate the scenes better in the film, or you take it out and show us this information in a much clever way that doesn't make the movie almost 3 hours long. We then go on a journey looking for all the Eternals while getting pointless flashback scenes and moving the plot without your characters. The group doesn't get together till the final 30 minutes of the film, which could be interesting if this was a better movie. Instead, we get random tonal shift after random tonal shift with stilted dialogue all the way around. It isn't till 1 hour and 30 minutes into the film where we get an actual plot, and even then the whole group isn't even there. Even with this issue, this is still the best scene. The wit and dramatic beats mesh perfectly and felt like an actual thought out and prepped scene. We then get a decent action scene that hits the peak of the film. After this scene, it gets fucking wild. Turns out not Superman killed one of the Eternals that is thrown at you so late in the film you can't even process on why his character did this and why as an audience member should we care. At this moment we have the Eternals who are divided on saving the day against destroying the world to create giant space robots. Eternal is basically Superman wants to kill the whole team. Speaking of that, this movie just straight up confirms that DC is a comic book property that exists in the MCU as they relate not Superman to Superman. We have deviants that are now getting a moral conscience. All of these plots can be all decent if they were just in the main plot of the film. This film is as if you had 5 scripts and decided to use them all, but just take random scenes from all of them and call that the main script. We get 2 acts. We get the first act and the final act. There is no middle to let the characters interact and change in a way that doesn't feel rushed. We then get a 15-minute set piece that tries to take all the story bits and have a climax to all of them. So of course it feels jumbled and empty. After we get our quote-unquote emotional climax, we hit another act in this film, the epilogue, the last 15 minutes, which is or feels as long as the third act. It sets up the MCU as if we didn't get already 3 other Marvel properties that have already came out this year that have all set up different big Avenger plots. So we have a new timeline that shouldn't exist. Wanda is now Scarlet, which wasn't supposed to happen. We have politics on superheroes and a formula going around that makes you strong. We have multiple timelines. We have space robots. We have Venom that was supposed to be in its own Sony universe, now involved with the MCU. We have Thanos' brother who's played by Harry fucking Styles. What is this? Why? I just want to see an enjoyable story with fun characters. All these movies are just set up experiences. They aren't movies, they are experiences you're going to forget about by the next day. For once, I have more hope in DC, as it's just giving the writers and directors full control and just doing what they want, where you get an actual story with fleshed out characters. I'm so done with Marvel. They need to just make independent superhero movies that doesn't rely on big monster trying to destroy world and try to connect that with other stories about big monster trying to destroy world. The movie is not all terrible, as it has some decent risk that I was happy with. You get a pretty terrifying concept and being. You get a Marvel sex scene, which I made a joke of at the beginning of the film, and it actually happened. And you get the plot point with Superman where he's actually bad. But that doesn't make it good. It kind of makes it worse because this movie just blows concepts that would have been super interesting being able to see it in other Marvel movies and better stories. Nope. We get this shit. 3 out of 10. Well, let me know what you thought of the movie and what you think of this series. This is LGTV, signing off.